What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life.
Alright, hey ball busters, Bates here with your friend and mine, Ray Mungus, ready to get spooky on the first episode of Way of Life Live. Hey, how are you doing tonight, Ray?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you doing, Bates?
I am peachy. So welcome everybody to the first episode. We have a bit of a format we're gonna try and follow tonight, but nothing's really been hammered down. So just kind of bear with us. We're just gonna bounce around a bit, but overall it should be pretty fun. Again, before we start, I said this on my game stream last night. Just want to send all of our love and prayers out to everybody who was affected by the attack yesterday in New York. It kind of hits a little. It kind of hits hard for us because we were so close to this attack. I mean, I'm about 25 minutes from it, and Ray is about 40 minutes from it. So definitely just want to give all of our love out to anybody who was affected by that.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, being that it's so close to home, even if it wasn't so close to home, it's just unfortunate that we're still in a world where this stuff happens very often, and it's a shame, that such a cowardice act has to affect many people's lives, and feel for them.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I can't even imagine that you're on a bike path and then all of a sudden you're running from your life from a friggin' 5-ton machine of death. It's awful. And you know what? It even makes me feel even more scared because apparently this dude who committed this heinous act lived in the town next to me. So that's kind of a big eye opener there.
Really knocking on your door then. But it's just crazy that these are situations that none of us would have ever expected to have to worry about in our lives. Like we go to the movies, we go to concerts, we take walks down the streets, and then we have to look over our shoulders for situations that might occur to us, and it's horrible,
Without a doubt. So we just wanted to say that and wish everybody the best who was affected. Before we kind of dove into our own thing. So way to bring the stream down. That's what I do.
Time to bring it back up.
Yeah, I'll try.
That's all we can do.
So basically, what this stream is going to be about, this is just going to be one of many different episodic content pieces that you guys can expect from the channel. This just happens to be the first one. And this show is really going to dive into some of the latest horror news that's going around. We'll be talking about, what's going on in our lives horror-wise.
And in the community, of course.
Exactly, yeah. But, a lot of the times that stuff that's going on in the community really affects our lives big, as horror is.
It has for years, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been blanketing us most of the last decade.
Yeah. Without a doubt, it basically, if something big happens in the world of horror, then our lives are turned upside down for a little bit. It's just how it works.
Or turn to a positive situation as well, like sequels that we expect would never happen that come out and happen. So, I mean, there is positivity in there too.
Yeah, or if out of nowhere a remake of a classic gets announced, then it just sets the horror world on fire, and then we're either trying to put out the fire or fuel the fire. You know, it's one or the other, but it still turns our lives upside down for a while.
Exactly, like a secret sequel to Blair Witch or a Hatchet movie.
Yes, yeah, seriously. I mean, when fucking Victor Crowley just randomly got announced, it was like, wait, what? Did we miss this announcement like a year ago? How are we just finding out about this now? And then,
yeah, moreover, in a day and age of where we have all the information at our fingertips, for them to sneak one in on us like that, and then just go completely unannounced, and then one day, at a snap of a finger, boom, there you go, a sequel that you never expected would happen.
Yeah, I kind of felt like I was lied to all that time, but it was a lie I didn't mind.
It was a good lie, you know?
Yeah, so it's one of those rare good lies. So it's like, okay, lie to me more. Do that
Exactly.
more.
Like another 6 movies, you know? Like, what was it, Victor Crowley Takes Holliston, for example.
Yes, Victor Crowley on a boat, I believe.
I'll take it.
Yeah, no, there was a bunch of possible new Hatchet movies for phases 3, 4, 5, and 6.
I believe that was Perry Shen accidentally, quote-unquote, leaking the information in his Facebook Live video. He's also the star of the new movie, Victor Crowley.
Yeah, and he's been in every other movie, too.
Exactly, as a different character, I believe. But we're getting off track.
Yes. So yeah, basically you can expect any type of horror news and all the goodies going around in the horror community. We'll almost always probably be talking about personal horror stuff in our lives, whether it's, you know, maybe some type of top insert number of choice list or personal favorites or whatnot. But we'll definitely be running down some of our history within the stream, and hopefully occasionally be joined by the other 2 members of the Way of Life Network, who are not here tonight, but don't really expect them too much on the stream.
Right off the bat, at least.
Yeah.
They're going to be reserved for one of our other shows that we're working on.
Yeah, we won't give a whole lot of details on that yet because we're still hammering all that down, but expect to see them more on the pre-recorded stuff that's going up on the channel.
I'm going to be putting them to work. They're going to be in some of the live stuff as well, whether they like it or not.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, me and you can't do everything.
Exactly. But I mean, this alone was enough work. I'm ready to go on vacation for a year.
Yeah, but you know what? Thankfully, a lot of the hard work is now done. Graphics, all that pretty stuff that you made, that's the worst of it. Now it's just a matter of getting the content together every week or bi-weekly. We haven't quite decided on, you know, how often we'll be doing this, but yeah, the hard part is definitely over.
You guys will be the first to know. I mean, you could always follow us on Twitter to find out our schedule, which is at Way of Life Net. Little cheap plug.
I don't think it's a cheap plug when you're plugging the show we're currently on.
That is true, definitely. In any case, follow us and you'll know when we go live. Better yet, subscribe right there below. You know, see where I'm talking in the desert? It's a little button below.
Yeah, don't mind the dogs of war. They won't bother you as long as you hit the subscribe button.
Exactly.
So that's just kind of the stuff you can expect from this particular stream on whatever basis that we do it. And so pretty much with that, we can just jump in to kind of some of the news that's been floating around the horror community in the last couple days or, you know, week, give or take. And since we just passed Halloween, it would be kind of weird if we didn't at least talk about the new Saw movie.
Fair enough, definitely. I mean, it's become a staple. Well, I mean, previously it was a staple in our Halloween tradition, and you know, even though it's not being well received at the moment, we still have to talk about it.
Yeah, but it the thing is with it's none of the Saw movies were ever well received by critics. But then again, what horror movies are? The It remake was I wouldn't say a happy accident, but it was like a real rarity that movie got such high praise from critics.
And I don't even know how it happened either. Like, I wanted to say it was the right place, right time, but like it doesn't make sense to me. Maybe it's because of the success of Stranger Things that everybody was just ready for another Stand By Me type of movie. But it's a happy accident that I'm very happy it happened. Say that 10 times fast.
No, definitely agree. It basically, just trying to segue off Saw for 1 second. I think what made it so successful is the fact that it gave us these likable and to a degree relatable characters in the kids.
Yeah, everything felt very true to growing up. Like you see a lot of these movies like Insidious and stuff, and you see the children portrayed in those movies, and you try to look back on your own childhood, and it's like, I didn't grow up that way. Maybe when I was like 4 or 5 or something like that, but I didn't go into my pre-teens to like in a similar way. I was raised more like the Stand By Me kids or the Stranger Things kids, or in this case, It.
Yeah, it just seemed like, especially for people, in our particular age bracket, seeing those kids, it seemed way more relatable, and we were able to kind of connect with them on that level, which made the movie instantly more enjoyable. Not that the movie wasn't enjoyable on its own, but when you have characters you can really connect with, it helps, and especially with movies that star kids like that. You look at movies like, obviously, you look at series like Stranger Things, Stand By Me, like you brought up, even a movie like The Goonies, which was obviously kind of a bit far out there in terms of, yeah, we really didn't do those things as kids, but they're still super likable characters that that got you so invested in the rest of the movie.
And not to deviate too much into Goonies, but that's the sort of things that we would think of in the adventures we were going on. Like we imagined taking over a pirate ship, running from bandits, as kids, but we were those kids that were on that adventure.
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny that we bring up Goonies. There's a bit of, not really Goonies news later in the stream, but sort of, and you guys will see what I mean when we get there. But jumping back into the original topic of Jigsaw.
As you can see, we're going to be going all over the place.
Yeah, there's no rhyme or fucking reason to the way we're doing this, so deal with it.
Just enjoy the ride.
So yeah, it wasn't received too nicely by the critics, but again, almost all horror fans were expecting that.
I was hopeful that it would be a nice change of pace, like that the film would take a few years off to recalibrate, and maybe get it right this time, because I feel like the final few movies were not so good. But apparently, it's just more of the same, from what I understand.
Yeah, that's what I read as well. I didn't see it. Normally, I do see all the Saw movies as soon as they come out. This one, I was reading so many negative things about it. It really was kind of making me think twice about seeing it right now. But it did do well, box office wise. It did. I believe it took the weekend.
How much did it make?
I am not.
Wasn't it like 20? I think.
It was over 16.
Let's just say 18.
I'm actually just looking it up right now. So right now it's total. Its domestic total right now is over 20, and worldwide it's over 30. So yeah, it took in 16.5 opening weekend.
What was the budget?
I don't know off the top of my head. I would assume it's probably a good deal more than that.
Take a look.
but it's number one at the weekend, which is going to be the only weekend it's going to be number one at.
Budget was $10 million, so that's not a horrible take.
All right, so it's already tripled its production budget. Not full production budget, because I don't know what their marketing was, but
marketing is the standard marketing is usually double the production budget. So it's gonna take a nice profit for Lionsgate, I'd say. But will they make another? That's yet to be seen.
Yeah, I mean, from everything I was reading, I was really hopeful for this movie, and I was very excited for it. Because I was hoping that they would really throw... Obviously, the movies are known for their twist endings. And let's be honest, almost every twist ending that the franchise has had has been just a rehash of a previous twist ending.
Yeah, just with a different character.
Yeah, and pretty much this is more of the same. I'm not going to dive into spoilers, because I read everything about it. So I'm not going to dive into spoilers, but honestly, do not go into this movie expecting something earth-shattering and different, because it's not there. I read a couple of reviews saying it's the greatest twist ever in the franchise. Yeah, that one's lost on me. There are definitely ways they could have taken that ending and spun it into something really, really special to kind of do almost like this could have been a soft reboot for the franchise, and obviously they didn't really go that path. They just kind of went more over the top. I'm going to get into just light spoilers for a second, because it's something that really bothered me from what I read about the movie.
So fast forward about 10 seconds, or a minute rather.
Yeah, I
want to hear.
Yeah, I would say if you don't want slight spoilers, I'm not giving away the ending, obviously. But I would say just mute for the next 30 seconds, starting now. So this movie takes place, like, before the first movie, and yet the traps are all incredibly complex when you look at the first 2 or 3 movies. But yet this movie takes place before the first movie.
They went the prequel route.
Yeah, and it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, like why would he take and make traps that were inferior, for the movies that follow this one, when he had such great advanced traps in this one? Kind of doesn't make sense. Yeah,
so take it as it is. End of spoilers. So take it any way you want. I'm sure at some point I will go see the movie, maybe on a matinee one weekend. I'll just go check it out real quick.
Yeah, and if we do, we're definitely gonna, do a more spoiler-driven review, I guess.
Yeah, definitely.
I plan to see it as well. I mean, I never read reviews, and I never take what people say. When somebody tells me don't go see this movie, it's terrible, I'm gonna go see it just for the sake of my own opinion.
Yeah, I kind of wish I did see it already, but I'm not beating myself up over it yet. If I can see it, yeah, I mean, if I can see it for a matinee price, I'll be happy with that. Plus, I didn't want to go, because going to the movies nowadays, it's just fucking, it just puts a massive hole in your wallet. Because I'm the kind of guy, I need popcorn, I need a ginger ale, and at the end of the day, you're spending fucking $30, $35, $40 just to go to the movies by yourself. So
I completely agree with you on that. My problem with going to the movies these days, especially with horror, is the people that can't suspend disbelief, and then they sit there and giggle and laugh throughout the entire time. All in all, I'm becoming an old man, and those damn kids are ruining my time. But it's one of those situations where you have to just either stay home or see it on home video.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those kind of situations where it's almost nicer to see some of these movies at a place like the Alamo.
Oh yeah,
because you know you're gonna get a good crowd no matter what you see. But I also really didn't want to go to the movies last week, and be disappointed knowing that I'm going to be going to the movies tomorrow to see Thor. So
And that's directed by who?
that's directed by Taika Waititi, who, if you are unfamiliar with his work, just stop watching the stream. Hit subscribe, but stop watching the stream and go find What We Do in the Shadows on some streaming service or some type of Insta-rent service. I don't care. Just go see that movie, and then after you finish that movie, go see some of his other movies. Boy, it's pretty good. Obviously, Hunt for the Wilder People was one of my favorite films last year. The guy makes incredible films.
He's a fantastic director, and I know how long it took you to get me to watch What We Do in the Shadows, but boy, am I glad I did. It's a fantastic movie.
Yep, and I'm hoping we get some news soon about the spin-off Werewolves movie.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that.
Yeah, they announced it. Apparently it's gonna happen. So we just haven't heard anything since that announcement. It's pretty much the same thing with Turbo Kid 2. We got the announcement, we're getting Turbo Kid 2. We haven't heard anything since then, and it's probably been about a year.
Yeah, with Turbo Kid 2, I hear piracy is holding that back. A lot of the financiers are a little skittish about putting up the money because of how many times that movie was downloaded.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's a real shame, but I mean, personally, I feel that piracy really affects the industry, but it's kind of an old way of thinking. You know, people think, oh, well, people are just going to steal it and all that, and you know, like, they're not looking at it from a perspective that people are actually going out and watching it. People are actually also buying it too, based off of trying it out or becoming a fan and buying merchandise, etc. I mean, it might be a smaller percentage, but, you know, it does happen.
Yeah, well, you know what? In the age of crowdfunding, you know, that kind of helps offsets this piracy bullshit that, you know.
Agreed. People are paying directly to the filmmakers for what they want.
Yep. So
I think that's tremendous.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a route they should maybe possibly look towards. You know, start a Kickstarter and try to crowdfund some movie for production.
Agreed, and with it being on Netflix, I'm not sure if it's still on Netflix, but with it having a Netflix run, it is a household name. People have seen it that wouldn't normally have seen it. So, I mean, a crowdfunding campaign could totally work, in my opinion.
Yep, definitely. So here's hoping that that they go down that route at some point. When, I don't know, but I hope we hear some news soon on that, as well as the What We Do in the Shadows werewolf spinoff. I think that's going to be a really, really funny movie, especially if Waititi is involved, which I can't see him not being involved. So,
yeah, I agree. Hopefully it happens. Looking forward to it.
Yep, definitely. On to the next piece of news. There was a new trailer for season 3 of Ash vs. Evil Dead.
And if you're not watching Ash vs. Evil Dead, you need to be. It's aired by Stars, and you know, like, for all these years, people were saying Evil Dead 4 is needed. We want Evil Dead 4. They were bursting down Bruce Campbell's door, screaming they wanted it. And here it is. They got it. And we're on the third season now, coming out in February, I believe.
Yeah, I believe that's the release date I saw.
So it's a little bit of a different release schedule this year because they had pushed it to the mid-season, I think. So, but the trailer looks fantastic.
Yeah, I saw the trailer. I mean, that's about the extent of the show I've seen. I actually have not gotten around to watching it, and that's basically because when it first came out, I was just getting ready to move to my new house, and then once I set up my cable, I did not pay for Stars. So I didn't have Stars, so I couldn't watch it. But now I do believe that it is on Netflix, and I just need to really sit down and watch season 1 and 2.
Couldn't agree more. And if you follow Bates on Twitter, please harass him every possible second to watch this. Just the way he told me to watch What You Do in the Shadows. Go bust his balls about watching Ash vs. Evil Dead, because it's completely worth his time.
Hey, eventually I get to it, just like I got to almost all of Bates Motel. I still got to get to the last season. That was another show that I did not have available because that was on, I think, A&E.
I believe so, yeah.
And my cable subscription did not include A&E, so I had to wait until all of the seasons were on Netflix. And then I ended up binge watching almost the entire series up until the final season on my trip to Asia. So I have one more season to go, and I couldn't love the show anymore. It was an amazing show. I'm sad that it's gone, but I still have that last season to look forward to because I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, and having seen the last season, it sticks the landing. Bates Motel really hit it out of the park these last few seasons. The minute he starts transitioning into Mother, I mean, spoilers if you've never seen Psycho, it's just what is his name? Freddie Highmore, I think.
Yes.
Freddie Highmore just knocks it out of the park. He's amazing in the character.
And he's got. My favorite thing about him is there are only a handful of actors over the past decades that have that mastered deadpan stare.
Without a doubt.
And honestly, the only, Perkins had it. I'm not, he definitely had it.
Don't you dare say what I think you're gonna say.
I don't know what you think I'm gonna say, but
that was a little. It seemed like you were slighting Perkins a little bit, and I got a little.
Oh no! Perkins had it. I still think, obviously, this who I'm about to name has nothing to do with horror, but I'm talking about deadpan looks. Bob Newhart is the master of the deadpan. But Highmore, I have never seen anyone so young just master the deadpan like he did in that show. So
Agreed.
it's crazy. Just a blank look can add so much to a character. It's unreal sometimes.
Yeah, I was originally not very sold on Freddie Highmore when I first started watching the show. One thing that bothered me the most, in my opinion, was his accent would randomly break through when he got a little bit of emotion to him. But eventually, you could see it in the show as he progressed. He got significantly better. But by the end of the series, man, he is just, I'm looking forward to what this guy's gonna do in the acting world. Post Bates Motel.
Yeah, he's got a new
show, right?
Yeah, I think it's called The Good Doctor.
I believe so. I've been hearing good things about it. I think it was created by the creator of House, which is another incredible show, but also not horror.
Yeah, no, it definitely looks pretty cool. I'll probably give it a shot at some point. I mean, there's a lot of good new seasons out right now on TV, but I actually haven't really been watching anything. I'm like probably 5 or 6 weeks behind on the new South Park season, and I gave up. I gave up on being behind on shows. I've got an entire backlog of stuff that I have to watch, and that's a good problem to have because we're in an era where TV is like it's bigger than movies when it comes to like the quality. It's unreal. Yeah, no, it just seems to be getting better and better for the most part, and like I just said with South Park. I mean, fuck, what are they in their 28th, 29th season? I don't even fucking know anymore. And yet that show just seems to be getting better and better. So
I haven't watched South Park since middle school. And that was a long time ago.
Oh man, you've missed out.
I hear it's a fantastic show.
Yeah, you're missing out, man. All right, so definitely, guys. I believe the premiere of Ash vs. Evil Dead season 3 is Sunday, February 25th. So definitely keep an eye on that.
Yeah, without a doubt.
and hopefully I got enough time to catch up on seasons 1 and 2. Hopefully I can sit down and get that done.
We'll make them.
So next on the agenda would be the Telltale Games Walking Dead series.
Yeah, it was just announced recently that they're going to be getting a physical release next month, and that's going to be released on December 5th, and what it includes is all 19 episodes of the series. It has the first 3 seasons, the 400 Days Bridge episode, and the 3 mini episodes for the Michonne series. That's going to be a PlayStation 4, Xbox One release, and it's going to retail at $49.99, right in time for the holidays. So I know that you never played the Walking Dead series, and I know you're not a big fan of the Walking Dead, but like if you're a fan of story, I highly recommend these games. Like I know I'm being very over complimentary in this, about all these topics, but I've never played a video game when the credits rolled, where I just kind of like sat there and thought about my life. Like I was like really, really moved by the ending of the first season of the game. And I've never seen a video game story told in such a way, like where I'm sitting there speechless at everything that transpired throughout the series. So, I mean, like if you've never picked up one of these games, if you only played the other Walking Dead games, I cannot recommend them enough. So go out this Christmas, buy the Telltale Games Walking Dead series, or just go over to Steam and add it to your computer.
Yeah, well, that's kind of Telltale's wheelhouse when it's those story-driven games. I know that their Batman series has gotten high praise. I believe their Guardians of the Galaxy series has gotten pretty good praise.
Yeah, I played the Batman one, and it's a really good game. I enjoy it quite a bit. I've not played the new one, nor the Guardians. I'm waiting for the Guardians to finish up because they release these episodes every few months. They give you a little taste, and then they make you wait for more. But like I said, if you like The Walking Dead, or if you liked The Walking Dead at some point, pick it up. These games are fantastic. But on the other hand, I feel like this compilation's being released a little bit prematurely because there's going to be one more season left on the series, and it just seems like we're going to be double dipping eventually. Like if you want a collector's edition that compiles everything all at once, this is, in my opinion, not the release to go for. You should wait till the extra season's finished.
Yeah, it seems like this is kind of like a big bundle that they're getting out. Yet it's not a complete bundle because they still have one more piece of the bundle yet to come. So it seems like an odd choice to release it this way.
I mean, from a business standpoint, it's not terrible because the new season just started and everybody's going to be hyped up from the mid-season finale in December. So perfect timing for them to release a Walking Dead video game. But if you're a completionist, you're going to want the Ultimate Edition that they release next year after the final season.
And there's going to be people clamoring for that, so it is what it is there.
Yeah, it's business. You can't win them all, and Lord knows you and I have double dipped on many a Blu-ray and DVDs over the years. Speaking of double dipping. There is a great announcement this past week. Scream Factory, which is basically the modern-day Anchor Bay of horror releases, has announced that next March, the movie Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, is going to get the Scream Factory treatment. And if you never received or never bought a Scream Factory DVD, it's loaded. From the cover art being like originally designed in a fantastic sort of way, to the features, the commentaries, the documentaries. Just these releases are so bloated that like you never need to pick up another one.
Yeah, it as far as quality goes, it doesn't get this. This is like the the Armani of fucking horror DVD releases. They don't get better than Scream Factory.
Agreed. And this movie holds kind of a special place in my heart because it was a kind of like an independent movie that was released back in the day, and not necessarily an independent movie, but like right at the edge where straight to DVD movies were a little frowned upon still, where you pretty much looked at them as quality or not so good in quality. I personally bought this movie as a blind buy and gave it a shot. And being a slasher film fan, I've never seen a movie that like took the slasher genre like that and flipped it on its head, like since the Italian Giallo movies.
Yeah, it's I've seen it. I've seen it 2 or 3 times, and I like it more each time I see it. It was just it bordered. Well, I guess it doesn't even border. I guess it almost is a mockumentary, but it's a mockumentary that takes itself seriously. It's weird that way, but it's like that really good kind of weird. I don't know how to explain it, but it's definitely the kind of film you need to see at least once and appreciate the path they went down with this particular film.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. And the fact that this isn't really a spoiler, but the fact that this mockumentary turns into a horror movie, and like you just have to see how that happens. Like I can't describe the way like it takes what it's presenting throughout the film and then flips it again on its head and turns into a traditional slasher movie that you've come to love from all these movies over the years.
Yeah, it's it's just a really hard movie to really explain, but it's like you're watching it, it's like, oh, this is pretty kind of funny, I'm getting into this, and then it's like all of a sudden shit just got real.
Yeah, in a big way. It was when you're watching that movie, you don't expect that hit when it happens.
So here's hoping that some point somewhere down the line we finally get part 2.
Yeah, which they've been struggling for years to make, but this might actually bring light to the film in a way that never did previously, and maybe we'll get the sequel that we wanted. But right now, I'll accept the comic series that's out. Cheap little plug for those guys.
Yep, definitely. So here's hoping on that. So anybody who likes remakes, and occasionally we do get a good one, we have another one coming in the form of Pet Sematary, and I think we'll be all right. I think they I think it's going to be in good hands. It's going to be, I believe, directed by the same guys who worked on Starry Eyes.
Yeah, those guys' names were Kevin Kolsch and Dennis Widmeyer. If I said that wrong, I apologize. But needless to say, the 2014 Starry Eyes was a very unique movie, and I think those two could really bring a interesting approach to a Pet Sematary world.
Yeah, and Pet Sematary is one of those movies that, well, it was one of those good Stephen King movies. First of all,
it holds up pretty well even today.
I mean, you have a movie with Fred Gwynn in it; it's almost automatically going to be awesome.
Like they should just show, Bud, and was that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. They should just show Fred Gwynn. Let's just call him that. They show him, roll the credits, and the movie's automatically good. So the rest of it's gratuitous.
And basically, I think they're gonna do a good job with it, but I'm afraid they're gonna come up short in finding the right kid to cast the right actor to play the little boy in the movie. Because I can't recall his name off the top of my head, but the one from the original movie, yeah, he's still nightmare fuel to me.
I'm more concerned about the casting of Zelda, which is to me still the most scariest thing in all of horror, let alone that movie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they have their casting mountain to climb on this one.
But one thing that's I guess refreshing is the fact that Stephen King movies have been on the upswing recently.
Yeah, for the most part. If we just forget that The Dark Tower happened.
Well, I think we're in the process of forgetting that it happened by way of the TV series that's being shopped around, actually.
Yeah, so it's like we still have the It remake, which was phenomenal. We have Gerald's Game on Netflix, which I still haven't watched. It's in my queue. It's probably the next thing I'm gonna watch on Netflix.
Same. 1922 was also released.
Yes, I saw that.
There's quite a few Stephen King projects on the horizon that's looking promising, and I'm kind of glad that he's finally getting his day, because they butchered countless amounts of his movies over the years. There's only a handful that were actually even close to being done right, and I'm kind of glad that people are taking him seriously finally, rather than just taking his concept and then having studio executives do whatever the fuck they wanted with it.
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy to think that it took this long. Now, up until the It remake, there were, I don't know, I think somewhere between 30 and 40, might have even been more, King adaptations on film and on TV. And the batting average was not good.
No, not at all.
I mean, you had a few good gems. The It miniseries, I'm sorry, in my opinion, it was not a good miniseries. Obviously, I love Tim Curry as Pennywise, but aside from that, it wasn't good. Now you had on the other hand, you had the Stan miniseries, which was really good.
Yeah, that one holds up pretty well too.
Yeah, it definitely does. I'm a big fan of the first Pet Sematary movie. For whatever reason, I even liked Pet Sematary 2. Why, I don't know, but it's like a guilty pleasure movie. It's not a good movie, but I like watching it.
Yeah, it was. I think it was all John Connor that did it.
Yeah, Edward Furlong. It was in that time where he was doing weird movies like that. That was probably around the same time he did like Brain Scan and stuff. And I love Brain Scan. I think that's a great movie.
Yeah, I agree. Pet Sematary 2 was definitely an interesting movie, and it may have, like, people may have been disappointed with it because it didn't I guess reach the same ground that the first one did. But one thing I liked about Pet Sematary 2 is the fact that they took the concept and then they went in a completely like it was like a fork in the road, and they took a different path than the first one, and they really made it their own.
Yeah, it's a fun movie from start to finish, in my opinion. Let's see what else. Obviously, Misery, fucking.
Oh my god, that movie is just unreal.
Still cringe at that movie. Good cringing, real good cringing. Just hard to watch.
I'm really glad that Kathy Bates is still working through these days. Like she's been appearing on American Horror Story for the last few seasons, and my god, she needs to be used in far more movies than she is.
She is a treasure.
Yeah, that's the word I was looking for.
A treasure, just a straight up treasure. And I can't think of any other really. I mean, obviously, The Shining is a beloved movie, but if you've ever read the book, it's an awful adaptation.
Yeah, I don't even think Stephen King likes
No. He hated it. He hated it, and
there was a TV series made on it.
Yes,
that was a little more close to the book, which I remember watching back in the day when it was, on the air when they aired it first, and I didn't mind it, but without Jack, Jesus, it didn't seem right. And I know it's represented better from the book, but I don't know. Jack Nicholson's just, he's Jack Torrance in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those roles that's just gonna be that's always gonna be hard to overcome for an actor who's trying to take on that role. It's just the way it is, especially when you got an iconic actor playing the role.
I think it's possible. I mean, you might not agree with me, but there's been a certain actor that it did outshine Jack Nicholson in a certain role, but
Well, that's your yeah. I know where you're going with that. Obviously, that's your opinion.
yeah, and it's shared by many. I'm actually referring to Heath Ledger as the Joker. I'm a huge fan of his performance in that role, and as much as I love Jack, he pulled it from him in my opinion. So I don't think I think it's possible that one day we might see a Jack Torrance that beats out Jack Nicholson. Maybe not.
Yeah, we'll see. With the way these King remakes are coming out, it's very possible in a year or so we get an announcement that a new Shining adaptation is being made.
At this point, I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, if there's going to be a time to do it, the time is now.
Agreed. And with Doctor Sleep, the Shining sequel book out, I think it's a good opportunity to take and do a Shining adaptation that's more true to the book, and then sequelize it with the movie Doctor Sleep. I think that's a good path to take.
Yeah, I hope if they do end up remaking the movie, they do follow the book closer. I read the book many years ago, back in high school, and I'm reading and I'm like, wow, I don't remember any of this from the movie. And I got through the book and I'm like, I like this a lot better than the movie. And
I think that's one of the problems that I had, actually, is the fact that I didn't read the original Shining book, so it's ingrained in my mind what Kubrick put on the screen. And even when I saw the made-for-TV remake of it, I was just like, this doesn't feel right, even though it was more, gunned towards the book.
And that's the problem with watching a movie and then reading the book the movie is based on. It kind of warps your perception on everything for a while. That it's not the only movie and book combo I've done like that. So obviously I saw the Shining movie first, and then eventually read the book, and then I was just like, wow, the book is so much better, but I love the movie. Same thing happened with Battle Royal. I watched the movie multiple times, and then I got the book, which is fucking huge, I gotta tell you. And when you're sitting there and you're reading 40 Japanese kids' names in a book, shit gets real confusing real fast.
Yeah, it's like the Japanese Game of Thrones.
Oh my god, it's ridiculous. But the book blows the movie away, and the movie's amazing. The movie's phenomenal, and yet the book somehow... There's a lot of facets in the book that the movie didn't touch, and I wish it did, because they were crazy awesome. And the latest movie book controversy I've run into is with one of my now favorite movies in Let the Right One In. When I first saw that movie, I didn't even realize it was based off a book. Well, I went out and I got the book, and there's absolutely no contest. I mean, I love the movie to death, but the book is just, it's where it's at. Absolutely where it's at. And if you like the movie, find the book and read the book. When I tell you it's going to answer so many questions that you had from the movie, you will thank me.
Yeah, on that note, you should lend me a copy of it. I've been asking for years.
Oh, dude, all right. I have it in my office. I pick it up when I got downtime at work sometimes and just start rereading it again. I'll bring it home from my job, and next time we get together.
I've definitely been wanting to read that over the years. I mean, just... That's just Let the Right One In is kind of a story that you want the backstory for. You need the little offshoots and the little facets of information that you would not get through the movie, just to complement it a little bit more, for curiosity's sake, I guess.
Yeah, especially with those really in-depth vampire stories. And it's not the first movie and book translation that I liked the movie, but the book was so much better. Actually, the first one that ever happened to me was Interview with a Vampire, and that's one of my favorite movies ever. Absolutely love everything about that movie. But then I eventually read the book, and man, oh man, is that like a friggin' different beast altogether. you know, in bringing that topic up, they've been talking about doing the Lestat Chronicles, either a new movie or some kind of series for a long time, and they really need to get on that. That is a great franchise with some awesome characters that they need to revive in some way.
You know, honestly, I'm surprised that they didn't already. Like after, you know, like the success of like True Blood or something like that on HBO, like they had every and I hate to say it, but Twilight as well. They had every shot to bring something like that to the to television, to Showtime or HBO or whatnot, and they didn't. I'm not quite sure why.
I think it was because of the failure of Queen of the Damned.
That would make sense.
Which, if you're not familiar with the Lestat Chronicles, Queen of the Damned is one of the book in the Lestat Chronicles. So it's a part of, you know, the Interview with a Vampire, that universe.
Oh, right on.
Yep. So
I mean, with Game of Thrones ending, they're definitely shopping around for new epic shows. So you never know, especially with the rumblings happening about them possibly making that into a series.
yeah, no, I really hope they do something with that franchise. Because as I said, the characters in it, and man, every time I see that movie on either a movies channel or TV or whatever, I have to stop and watch it. It was just one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid.
Yeah, I don't really remember it, to be honest. I've never really got into that. My version of the vampires was like with the Lost Boys or John Carpenter's Vampires or From Dusk Till Dawn growing up. I never really got into the more traditional vampire type of story.
Yeah, no, and this one is heavily story driven, and it really tackles the characters on a personal level with their struggles from when they were human to what they become. It's great on every level, especially if you like something like super character focused.
Right on. If they bring it to TV, I'm definitely on board for it.
So, moving forward, we're gonna get into a bit of not sad, but kind of upsetting horror news in regards to the Amityville movie, the Amityville Awakening,
which was produced one of the final films that was produced by the Weinstein Company.
Yeah.
Which, if you've been living under a rock, they haven't been doing so well lately.
Yeah, we're not getting into that.
No, you can go check TMZ for something like that.
Yeah, just Google Weinstein and you'll hate us. But anyway, so that movie got its theatrical release, but the thing is about that is it was available for free for like.
Was it?
Oh yeah. It was available for free on a couple of platforms for weeks and weeks prior to this getting its theatrical release.
That I didn't know. What was it, like streaming from Netflix or something?
I don't know if it was Netflix, but it was streaming from some service for free.
So I bet that had little to do with what you're about to get into.
Well, not really. I mean, it was only... So this movie had its theatrical opening, and it opened on 10 friggin' screens.
Yeah, that's why even bother at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
you know Amityville: The Awakening isn't gonna win an Oscar, so like, what's the point of even putting it onto digital?
So yeah, it basically at the end of the day it made like
little shy under $1,000.
Yeah, it was. I think when they did the math, it broke down to on the 10 screens, it only got like 8 people per screen the entire weekend. So yeah, it didn't do good. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, one thing that I've been hating surrounding this story is how everybody's sort of mocking the series for a $700 opening or whatnot, but like not understanding that they pretty much put this movie out to fail. Like they didn't know what to do with it. They probably even made this movie just to retain the rights to Amityville. They didn't care about how many screens it was on, just so long as it was released.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's done. It's over with. I don't think anybody wanted it. I don't think anybody cared about it. To be completely honest, I really didn't even hear about this movie coming up.
Yeah, it was better. It was better advertised after the fact that it was released. They should have taken the news of the $700 10-screen openings and then released it on 1,500 screens the next week, because there was all this free advertising for it.
Yeah, it was a disaster. Obviously, it was a massive failure on every level, and
I'm curious if they're going to do anything further with it. I mean, obviously, the Weinstein Company is probably going to get that movie auctioned off in some way, but I'm wondering if we're going to see a remake of it of sorts anytime soon.
I don't know. I think we've gotten enough of the Amityville movies.
Yeah, me too. I think the original was enough for me. I still haven't even seen the remake.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to.
I can imagine.
So keeping on the whole remake, reboot, continuation theme, we got I believe it was a tweet of some sort from Jamie Lee Curtis yesterday.
Yeah, I think so.
Go ahead.
If you guys haven't heard, she's returning to the Halloween series next year on, I believe the movie is supposed to be released on October 19th of 2018.
And before you for anyone not following the movie, before you kind of get confused as to why she's returning to the series, from everything I've read, this new Halloween movie is supposed to be the last in the original timeline, but it's also going to be a direct continuation from the original movie while ignoring every other movie after it.
Which I don't think is a bad thing. They tried that once before with Halloween H2O, and it was successful as it could have been. But I think that the creative team behind this one, might actually succeed with doing this, taking that gimmick and going with it.
Yeah, and that's just a great way to revive, dying franchises. I mean, that was my idea and plan for, the Friday the 13th franchise. You take it from the last truly great sequel and just continue it from there. I mean, obviously, I do kind of wish that they continued it from the end of Part 2, because I liked Part 2. I thought Halloween 2 was a great movie.
Part 2 was great. I mean, without a doubt. It was more of the same as the first one, but the fact that it continued the same night was always incredible to me.
Yes, I love direct continuation sequels. And that's something like the Friday the 13th series had. Obviously, Part 2, Part 3, and Part 4 all take place within the same fucking week, and I love that about the movies. It made them feel so much more connected than, say, the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, where maybe there would be a returning character, but it wasn't like it's the next day or the next week or the next month.
Yeah, exactly. They did the exact same thing with the Hatchet series as well. But a little funny tidbit about that was the original actress that played Mary Beth, I think the character's name is, from the first movie. All right, spoilers here if you've never seen Hatchet. She goes into a lake. She comes out of the lake as Danielle Harris in Part 2. Because there's a little bit of a casting snafu going on there. But like I said, like Bates said over here, that the continuation makes the story from the first one seem so much more strong than it does. It gives us the effect that the terror is not over, and everything that was endured in the first one, it hasn't gone away.
Yeah, it's just all about staying connected. And when you do direct continuations like that, the connective tissue, it's as strong as it possibly can be.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, I still think that this particular Halloween sequel is going to be pretty good, but you know, it's a new Halloween movie with Jamie Lee Curtis, so you know what? Fucking just take that as a win. Even if the movie comes out bad, it's still a win for horror fans.
Yeah, especially with a beloved series like Halloween, you know, like it seems like when certain remakes come out of a series, like for example, Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, after that movie was done, you kind of felt hopeless. You knew the studio wasn't going to back a sequel. You know, you could tell that the series just had a mess of a production going on with it, and they didn't really have a vision going all throughout that everybody could agree with. And you know, when you finally get a series that it seems to be in good hands with Blumhouse Productions, you can't help but get excited.
Yeah, agreed. So here's we got something to look forward to next Halloween.
And since we're probably not gonna see a Jigsaw sequel, maybe, I don't know.
No, they need to just end it. I'm
just saying, I'd be happy with Michael Myers muscling in on Jigsaw's time.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, just end the Saw franchise, please. It had a really good run, and it's time to put that one at the pasture.
You know, in my opinion, if you're going to remake, I hate to go back to the Saw series again, but if you're going to remake it at this point in time, you should just take the concept and do it with an entirely different narrative to it. Forget the original timeline, forget the original killings and everything. Stop trying to piece it together and just make a sequel in that universe. You know, like, just try to make something interesting. Try to do something different. Stop being so safe.
Yep, agreed. So, moving on, I believe you've been a big supporter of the Tragedy Girls movie.
I have. It's like the Leslie Vernon movie. I was pretty blown away by this trailer and everything kind of associated with it, and having received so much praise in the festival circuit and accolades from, you know, reviews and rewards, etc. It's pretty nice to see a movie, like a lot of people getting behind this movie. It almost reminds me of the you know, I guess the snowball effect of popularity when it came to Turbo Kid. You know, it has you know, it's trickled out a little bit, and then people started talking about it, and word of mouth spread, and that word of mouth spread is happening with Tragedy Girls now. And because of it, the theatrical release that was only on a handful of screens throughout the country is now expanding through a hell of a lot more theaters in America.
Yeah, which it looks like a fantastic movie. I wasn't following it that much, but it definitely looks like just something that any horror fan should really get excited for.
Agreed. And for somebody like me, when it comes to horror movies, I'm not a fan of technology. You know, I like the days where you couldn't pick up a cell phone or have to worry about a satellite feed or bad service or anything. But this takes the generation of, you know, like Twitter and Facebook and everybody being attached to their phones and devices, and they really use it in a unique way. Yeah,
it's definitely a perfect concept for this time and age.
Agreed, without a doubt.
So I think what we're going to do is I'm going to try to just bring up the trailer for you guys so you can check it out and judge it for yourselves.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it would be a good idea for you guys to take a look at the trailer and go to TragedyGirlsMovie.com if you dig it and see if it's playing in your area. If it is, go and check it out.
Sometimes I just feel like nothing I do matters. Like I'm not special.
Whoa.
We only got one retweet today from your mom. Sad.
We were just wondering if maybe you could give our blog a shout out.
A shout out from me would be a little off brand.
I have 15,000 followers. You know what that means in a community like this?
More to the left. His heart's more to the left. You're just hitting bone, dude. I'm trying.
is trending.
I really hope nothing bad happened to him.
It's like poof. He vanished, right? Anybody could be next.
Even you. You can find more information on our Tragedy Girls Twitter page. Your brains, my charisma. You can do anything.
Quick soundbite from the Tragedy Girls.
OMG, I can't even with this right now.
Are you afraid that the killer will target you because of your infamous blog?
We will not take any more shit from this serial killer. I'm so scared right now. Look amazing.
Jeez. Michaela? Shit. Damn it, okay.
I'm sorry.
Stay in character.
Phone's off, but it's a matter of life and death.
You bitches are crazy.
We used to be the same, you and me.
Do you remember our first time? I just want to know, what's next for the Tragedy Girls?
What happened there?
Nothing.
Is it blood?
Heavy flow day.
I don't know if that's not how that works, right?
Alright, so that was the trailer for you guys.
Yeah, it looks great, I think.
Yeah.
Recognizable people in there. I think one of them is Brianna Hildebrand, I think. She was in the Deadpool movie as Negasonic.
Yes, yes. No, it definitely looks like an absolute blast. And I think that the one of the critic snips that they took out said it's Heathers meets Scream, and I'm sorry, but anyone who doesn't want to see that movie, just leave, just go away. Heathers meets Scream is like, how the fuck did I not think of that?
Yeah, I agree. Just this movie screams cult. You know, I could see this being a cult classic easily within the next 10 years.
Yeah, fucking like easily like the next fucking Hatchet.
Agreed. So again, go check it out if it's something you might want to check out.
No, just go check it out because it's something you should want to check out.
Agreed.
So yeah, it definitely. I mean, we are in a renaissance of just amazing horror in the last couple of years.
It's all happening on the direct to video sort of platform. None of the super amazing horror stuff is being released theatrically or wide for that matter, and it's all happening on straight to DVD, straight to Netflix.
Which is, it's fine. You know, whatever gets it into fans' hands and TVs and homes quicker, it's just all the better. And it always, especially with how well horror is doing right now, it's just upsetting whenever I read stupid articles from writers and websites who don't know anything about horror, and they're always titled, "Why is horror struggling so much?" or "Horror is dead," or, you know, whatever. It's just these inept writers who don't know anything about the genre just trying to create these clickbait articles, and they know nothing of what they talk.
Yeah, and you get a lot of that in the fan base too, where, you know, they're so, I guess, they're so attached to the Nightmare on Elm Streets and the Halloween movies and things like that that were things that we grew up with. But
the big franchises, yeah.
Exactly. They're so attached to that they don't want to even give anything new a shot. You know, they'll watch a trailer of it and they don't see a hockey mask and they're like, okay, well, this sucks. That's just a shit attitude to have when it comes to horror. I mean, just embrace it. You know, it's movies. It's escapism. You want that sort of.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a perfect segue into the next topic of discussion, which happens to be Adam Green. And there is no one bigger in the horror world who just embraces horror and enjoys it like Adam Green does.
Yeah, without a doubt, he is just the horror filmmaker's fanboy. The best way to put it.
Yeah, he is quintessential horror on both the filmmaker front and the fan front. Because if you guys have ever met Adam Green, he reacts to you just like a fan, which is a weird role reversal. I mean, even now with all the success he's had with his movies, he will still meet fans and act like the biggest fanboy fan himself, which is it makes the meeting so much more enjoyable and memorable because you feel like you're just talking to another fan rather than a filmmaker of some of your favorite films.
Yeah, great. He really levels down to gets down to your level, and he doesn't. You know, better yet, I'm going to say that he doesn't even think he's bigger than you. You know, just because he made a few horror movies, it doesn't make him special or anything like that. He has this mentality that you're a horror fan just like he is, and you know, let's sit there and talk horror for a few.
And it's exactly what he does, and Ray is completely accurate in that he doesn't think he's bigger than any of his fans, because if you ever meet him at a convention, he will not charge you for an autograph.
Not to mention, he doesn't sit. He stands there from like, what time do the cons usually open? 9 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. He'll stand, he'll greet you, and just have a one-on-one with you like no other person that you would meet at any convention.
Yeah, it's if you guys ever get a chance to meet him, just go do it. If you bring your own, it's almost the exact same format every time. If you bring your own item, he'll sign it for free. You can buy posters and stuff at his table, which are usually only like $5, and he'll sign those after you buy them. But
the things at his table are generally things that you want to buy anyway. Like when his movie Digging Up the Marrow came out, like the first time it was ever released, it premiered at the convention that I met him. He had copies of the movie right there, and you know, you buy a copy, he'll sign it. Whatever you have, doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, you guys ever get a chance to see him, meet him, talk to him for a few. Do not be shy about it. He embraces his fans like no other director I've ever met.
Yeah, he's one of the most humble people that I've ever come into contact with in the when you're going to conventions and meeting celebrities and everything. And he doesn't want to be seen as a celebrity. He wants to be seen as an equal, and I think that's very admirable.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if I had to just name somebody off the top of my head who even comes close to how humble and approachable he is, surprisingly, it was probably Sean Cunningham. And the thing with him was,
you have a little warning about Sean, right?
Oh, I do have a little warning about Sean.
Nothing bad, don't worry.
Make sure you set aside a good 10+ minutes, because if you happen to ask him a question, he's gonna fucking go into some serious detail with that answer, and he will hang on to you for as long as possible, and not in a bad way. Like he is just so. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but it's just
he's invested in what you have to say, and you have to bring him. And even if it's a simple story of how you've seen Friday the 13th for the first time, he wants to hear it. You know, he's like amazed that his movie impacted you in such a way that you have that story and you've held on for it since, you know, some people since 1980.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, again, he's another one. You guys ever get a chance to meet Sean Cunningham, just do it. It's a treat, and it's something you'll remember for a very, very long time.
Agreed. But back to Adam Green.
Yes.
No offense to Sean Cunningham, but the reason we brought him up is his annual horror movie short film that he releases every year has been released. It is, you can go and find it on ariescope.com. That's ARIESCOPE.com. And if you're a fan of the Holliston series, it is a pseudo continuation of the characters in a way.
Yeah, something else you guys should check out if you haven't is the Holliston series. They're very funny and very tongue in cheek horror love letters.
Agreed. I mean, I think the Holliston television show is the best way to show what type of person Adam Green is. Just the way he writes his characters on the television show, he really nerds out in a way that only us fans do, and he really captures the type of people that we are because he is one himself. And the show is so charming. It's completely worth your time, completely worth picking up. Conveniently, you can buy it on ariscope.com as well while you're checking out A Holliston Halloween, the short film that he released.
Yep.
We're not being paid for that. We're legitimate fans, and
oh yeah,
we want nothing more than his stuff being seen by people, that may not have seen it before.
Yeah. Just a quick disclaimer: anything we promote on this stream, on this channel, anything like that, any promotions, any shout-outs we give, we are not being paid for any of them. It's just us being fans and us wanting to get great content out to other fans who might not know about it.
Agreed. There's no shill in any of us. We just completely want to spread the word on things that we enjoy ourselves, and that might not have the power of a big advertising company backing it, that you might not have seen, along the way. So.
Yep, pretty much. And to stay on the topic of Adam Green, his Victor Crowley tour concluded last night.
I was in Louisiana, I believe, right?
Yeah, in Louisiana. Very fitting.
With a little special addition to it at the end of it.
That I did not hear.
Yeah, the for some seeing a screening of Hatchet in the area where it takes place, you would have thought that they would have had the biggest red carpet in Louisiana, for that movie, but oddly enough, the movie has never premiered or played in Louisiana at all. So when Adam Green brought Victor Crowley to Louisiana for the first time, he decided to make it a little extra special. Obviously, they had a meet and greet like they usually do on the tour. But afterward, they had a haunted swamp tour with a couple of the cast members, Adam Green and Kane Hodder.
Yeah, I don't know how comfortable I would feel on a haunted swamp tour with Kane Hodder in the boat with me. Just saying.
I agree. I mean, he's known for grabbing people by the throat and crushing, the whatever you got in there.
Yeah, known for grabbing people by the throat. That's how he grabs people. It's the only way he knows how to grab people. He doesn't shake your hand. He grabs you by the throat.
Agreed. I would check him for hatchets or belt sanders or any of the other fun things he's killed people with over the years. But I don't know. I like the idea of them kind of recreating the first movie with the whole haunted swamp tour in the place that it takes, that it was made for.
Yeah, if you can do it, step it up. Step up that horror game. And Adam Green continuously does that.
Agreed, and you don't see many filmmakers ever going out of their way to do fun things like that, and just the fact that the movie takes place in Louisiana and he decided to recreate the tour from the first movie shows the type of fanboy he is himself.
Yep, it's definitely a really cool, and it was probably a once-in-a-lifetime experience for anyone who got the opportunity to go. Sadly, we had tickets to go see Victor Crowley a couple weeks ago.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, I had to bail because it fell on a weekend that I had to go down to Delaware and move because we had just sold our other house in Delaware, and we had to get all the stuff out of it that weekend. So I had to bail. That's
completely understandable. Me, on the other hand, I dealt with an interesting situation with a buddy of mine. Let's just say he was very delayed for personal reasons. I'll leave it at that. And when he finally picked me and my friend up, who we were still going to go to Victor Crowley with, we had a load of traffic. And when the movie was about to start at 7:15, I think we had just made it past the New Jersey-New York border.
Yeah, so you were still a good 25, 30 minutes out.
Yeah, the GPS was saying 40. So we were not making that one. So unfortunately, I still haven't seen the movie, but I've heard nothing but amazing things about it. Unfortunately, the tour is now over, but you could pretty much expect a DVD, Blu-ray, or video on demand release very soon. No details on that yet, but you could go to harryscope.com and keep up with that.
Yeah, something will get announced soon. So neither of us got to see Victor Crowley, despite us having tickets for it. But at least Ray got some ice cream out of that night.
I did get some ice cream, and on top of that, we supported the movie. We had 4 tickets that we bought, and we may not have seen the movie, but it was supported.
Yeah. So Adam Green, if you're watching this, hook some fans up. We went.
Yeah.
We tried to go. We paid.
Exactly. Throw us an interview or something, man. Something.
Come on, throw us a bone.
Or thank us or something. I'm just kidding.
No, seriously. But no, seriously. Fucking throw us a bone, all right?
Interview. See that little guest icon right there? Adam Green could be sitting right there in that box right now via webcam, wherever he is.
Yeah, I mean, that could be you, Adam. Just think about it. On this channel, with 6 subscribers right now, that could be you. Just saying, man. The fucking offer's there.
You'll be sitting amongst royalty. I mean, you got the Mungus right there, for God's sakes. And I'm still in the desert. It's hot as hell over here.
And we could talk about how I made Daniel Harris really uncomfortable at a Monster Mania.
Yeah, and then embarrassed me, Daniel Harris.
That was the whole point behind that. That's for another story. We'll do a show about convention memories, and we'll get into that. But jumping on to the topic of conventions, yesterday we got a slew of new guests added to Monster Mania. God, what number are we fucking on? 39?
Dude, I don't even know, man. Like, I started going at Monster Mania 2, and we're in the 30s now.
Alright, so we got a ton of names yesterday for Monster Mania 39 in Cherry Hill. Which I am happy to say I have a room, so we will be there. We will be doing.
If you are going to Monster Mania, come say hi.
Yes, definitely.
Podcasts and stuff there.
Yes, we are going to definitely try to do some recording there. We're going to try to see if we can get an interview from one of the guests, maybe. We will be recording panels again with a bit better production this time than my first round out. But they started going off some of the guests you can expect, and
it's already looking pretty good for it only being November. And
yes,
that's in March.
Again, it is Monster Mania 39, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, March 9th through 11th at the Crown Plaza, Cherry Hill. So the big name guests they have not announced yet. Though, in my opinion, Joe Pantoliano, hate his fucking name, is a big guest in my eyes. If you don't know who he is, he basically he was one of the Fratellis in the Goonies. What was his character's name in Matrix?
I don't remember offhand. I haven't watched The Matrix in like a decade.
Cypher? Was that his name?
Yeah, that might be it. That actually might be it.
He was the asshole in the Matrix movie. He was in the Daredevil movie. I believe he played Bullseye. I'm sure he's regretting that one. But he's like, if you see him, and especially if you hear his voice, he's got a very unique voice, and he's just he seems like a really, really interesting guy to meet. He was actually on an episode of Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal Podcast, and I loved listening to his stories. I'm hoping that Gil gets him back for another episode.
And that's a podcast worth checking out.
Oh God, yes. I mean, it really focuses on old Hollywood. Just to veer off track for a second, but Gil has a massive fascination for old classic horror and bad horror and good horror in general, and
orange slices.
Yes, Yes.
Or is that Cesar Romero?
Yeah. Well, that he likes orange slices. Put it that way. Listen to the podcast, you'll get the reference
Easily.
And basically, if you like old Hollywood stories and old Hollywood actors and stuff of that nature, and like hearing about old horror movies, check out the podcast. Believe it or not, Gilbert Gottfried is a friggin' tome of ridiculous knowledge. How he knows and remembers half the shit, I don't know. And I'm actually just going to throw this plug out there. His biography movie, Gilbert, is doing the tours around cities right now. If it's coming to your city, see it. It looks amazing. It's actually coming to my town next week. I think November 5th. It's playing in Montclair.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good movie to check out for sure.
So I'm definitely going to be seeing that. But to get back on to the guest announcements, so they don't have their headlining guest as of yet, but they do have a headlining event, so to speak. Anyone who follows the convention circuit know that photo ops with actors in costume is becoming more and more prominent at conventions. We're talking mainly like horror icons in their costumes, and sometimes even just regular characters just wearing their get-ups from their movies. And, you can buy special photo ops with them in costume. So that's been a big thing on the convention scene probably for the last 2 or 3 years now, and it's just growing and growing and growing. Well, Monster Mania kind of upped that ante, and we are getting a quadruple photo op with Steve Dash, Jason from Part 2, in costume.
Jason.
Yes, the real Jason.
None of that Warrington Gillette bullshit.
I can't believe you even said his name. You realize that if Steve Dash ever happens to listen to this, he's going to hate you?
If Steve Dash listens to this, he'll appreciate the fact that I admire Steve Dash as the real Jason and not that other guy.
Yeah, well, you still gave the other guy
Yeah. Hey, just the fact that we're from, the Jersey area, New York area, I think he'd level with me a little bit.
He's from Brooklyn. If you're not from Brooklyn, he ain't gonna like you. And if you don't, listen, Steve Dash is not a dude you want to piss off, man. Even at his tender age of how old he is, he's an angry old Brooklyn guy, but he's fucking funny as hell, man.
Agreed, and we could actually post some of his ranting. I think that's the only way you could pretty much call it, from the last Monster Mania's convention panel.
Yes,
because we got some footage, yeah.
Yes, definitely. You can find that, I believe, if you just go to my Live Deliciously in Game channel.
Which I think you get to by tinyurl.com/LDG gaming, or LDGAMING.
Yeah.
We'll post it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm probably going to re-upload those panel recordings I did on this channel as well, because they're more fitting content for this channel anyway, as that's mainly just a gaming stream. But so we're going to have Steve Dash, the real Jason from Part 2, in his burlap sack hillbilly costume.
And if you've ever seen his photo op in that costume, he looks amazing.
Yeah. We are getting CJ Graham, Jason from Friday 13th Part 6, Jason Lives, in full costume.
One of my favorite Jasons, by the way.
We are getting Kane Hodder, Jason from Friday 13th 7, 8, 9, and X.
In the video game.
Yes, and the model for all the Jasons in the video game. He is going to be in costume. Which costume, I do not know. I can't even take a guess at which one he's going to be. I would think 7, since it's probably his most beloved film role of the franchise. But as a big Jason Goes to Hell geek fan over here, I'm hoping it's Part 9. But we are getting him in one of his costumes. And just announced yesterday, we are getting Ken Kersinger, who played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason, in full costume. And they are also offering photo ops of all 4 Jasons in costume together.
You're not going to get another opportunity like this. Like, I hate to say it, but, like, all of those guys dressed up in costume for a photo op. I mean, it is... I can't even put a value on that if you're a fan of the Friday the 13th series.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get some cool pictures of all 4 of them. We're probably going to pool in our money and do the all 4 photo op. So I'm definitely, like... And I don't usually do photo ops. Now, I love this idea of these costume photo ops. I think it's a amazing way to inject life into kind of like this aging convention format. So I am all for it. I hope it continues. I hope more people and actors start doing it. And it's just I'm so excited for it.
Me too. I'm like Bates over here. I never do photo ops. I think I've only done one photo op in my lifetime, and that was with Stan Lee. After like 10 hours of waiting to meet him at New York Comic Con, I had to get a picture with him at least. But like Bates said, I'm just blown away by the fact that they're trying to I guess breathe life into these photo ops and making them unique, making the experience unique. Like whoever would have pictured getting a pic, like seeing a day where you're going to meet Kane Hodder, but you also get to take a picture with him in costume from one of his legendary roles. Like you would have never dreamed that as a kid, and they're making it possible with 4 right now, 4 of the Jasons from the series.
Yeah, it's
and they could easily add more too. That's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why Ted White wouldn't be like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm getting in on this. And fucking even Tom Morga could, slap on the Roy outfit and the Roy mask, and he could get in on it. He's as loved just as much as any other of the actual Jason actors.
Agreed.
Derek Mears, he would so be fucking down for this. Are you kidding me? Derek Mears is the nicest guy I've ever met, and yet he's the scariest looking guy I've ever met. How that's possible, I don't know. But I mean, there is no reason why the few pretty much every Jason actor, obviously aside from fake Jason Part 2, who doesn't even get invited to conventions anymore, and sadly Richard Brooker, who has passed away, every other Jason is a regular at conventions and would be more than happy to slap on the outfit again for fans.
Yeah, I agree, and just the fact that the opportunity is there for the people, like it's going to be an amazing experience. Just the fact that you were saying that Morga might be able to, or Mears. Can I get a time machine? I want to get to March already.
Yeah, so it's and these are just the very beginning guest announcements.
That's not all. There, aside from Jason, they've got a handful of really interesting guests. Some of which never appear at conventions.
Yes, the next few I've never met. You can go ahead and take those.
Yeah, we got Andrew McCarthy, who is known for Weekend at Bernie's, Mannequin, and St. Elmo's Fire. Very, very 80s type of guest there. And we've got Grant Kramer and Susan Snyder, who was in The Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And if you enjoy that movie, they also have Mike Martinez and Harold Blank, they played one of the clowns, I believe.
Yes.
So I mean, you don't get too many Killer Clowns from Outer Space guests at these conventions these days, but it's gonna be a good opportunity.
Yeah. So and I think I think they could probably get some. Or what are the name of the brothers?
I forget. I have to look it up.
I could so see those guys being added at some point. I mean, I've been going to Monster Mania since like the single digits. We're up to 39. I've been going since like the middle single digits. And I don't remember really ever meeting any of the Killer Clowns actors.
I think there was one.
One, yeah.
One that was there, and it's the Chiodo brothers.
Yes, the Kyoto brothers. That's right.
I mean, they really need to bring those guys because I'd like to get an update on the potential sequel they've been working on.
I know. I've been hearing. Occasionally you hear a bit of a rumbling on that. So it's interesting to maybe find out where they are at with it. Do they have a script? Are they working on getting funding? What's the deal here?
I was fans of the first movie. I mean, it's something that we've dreamed about since we first seen it. Back in Lord knows when. Yeah,
sadly, Killer Clowns from Outer Space was one of the first horror movies I was ever forced to watch, and while it didn't ruin me for horror movies, it scared the shit out of me because I was probably only about 7 or 8 years old when I was forced to watch it.
Oh man!
And that's a rough movie to watch when you're that young.
You were probably around the time where like that killer clown scare was going around the real life. Everybody was worried about clowns dressed up killing people, and kidnapping kids. So it probably fit right in that era.
Yeah, so it was that and Nightmare on Elm Street were the first two horror movies I was forced to watch by my brother and sister when I was a kid, who, strangely enough, they don't even like horror movies, yet they forced me to watch them. And I guess I gotta thank them, because that's what really got me into horror. I mean, I was scared shitless for a couple years because of those two movies, but it really only drove me to watch more and more of them. So it would be kind of cool to meet some of those guys. I've never met them, and Dave is definitely shaping up this Monster Mania to be a really, really special one.
He's been hitting it out of the park lately with all these conventions recently, and dare I say he's probably one of the best promoters on the East Coast. Like the Rock and Shock guys are really great too, but Dave brings in the stars. If the convention right after Stranger Things aired, they had most of the kids right there to meet.
Yeah, well, they had 2 of them.
Oh, 2? I thought it was the 3.
No. I think they had Will and Lucas. They did not have Mike.
No, they had Dustin, I think.
Really? I don't remember that. I remember Will, and I'm pretty sure I remember seeing Lucas.
Pretty sure Dustin as well.
You
have to look it up. But
yeah.
In any case, they're at the forefront of what's popular in horror, and Dave rather, and Dave's always looking to bring in new guests and just change it up and make the experience unique.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you're on the East Coast, in the New Jersey area, the Philadelphia area, and hell, even if you want to make a road trip, I highly recommend it. You're not going to be disappointed. I've got a couple of friends that want to fly out from Seattle for this convention because they're jealous every time that I come back with convention stories and everything. So you can check out any further updates by going to monstermania.net or following them on Twitter at monstermaniacon.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just post the link in the chat for you guys.
Yeah, without a doubt. These guys, the conventions have been amazing. I've been going since Monster Mania 2, like I said earlier, and we're up to the 30s, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon for me. Yeah,
it's pretty much the only vacations we take. So we'll definitely be there in March. They always do a con in August. I don't think I'll be able to make the August con this year, but I am thinking about trying to do our first September Maryland Monster Mania con. They've been doing that for years, but we've never gotten down to that one. So because I'm not going to be able to really do August, I think I'm going to try to squeeze in September.
And as always, I'm going to try to make August as well. So, if things get rolling with this channel, be on the lookout for a lot of con content. It's a weird one.
Con content, yeah.
Yeah, convention, I don't know. Well, we're working on that.
Alright, so I think we've definitely hit. God, wow, I can't believe. I can't believe how long this one went. It just fucking flew by.
Yeah, like I did not expect it to go this quickly.
Yeah, fuck. I actually was not planning on it. I'm planning on this stream going that long, but you know,
I was worried that we would just run through the content very quickly, and that we would need to, you know, have other things to be talking about. But my God.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to land this creaky plane.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and wind down here. I know Mungus kind of wanted to shout out a couple of people he likes and supports.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we're not being paid for any of this, and we're probably never going to be paid for any of this, which I'd much rather. You know, I like to recommend the things that I support and all that. But I wanted to turn you guys on to a few things that are of interest to me and might be of interest to you. There's this movie called The Barn out there. You could check out the website at thebarnmerch.com, and it is basically the epitome of Halloween movies. Like, I mean, you got the movie like Trick or Treat and, you know, the Michael Myers Halloween, but The Barn is an independently done movie that just completely blew me away when I seen it at Monster Mania, actually. Basically, I met the filmmaker. I don't recall his name at the moment, but he had set up a table at Monster Mania, and I just happened to walk by, and what caught my eye was there is a horror Candyland type of board game sitting at the table, as well as a Nintendo NES cartridge, or you know, like a poster and DVDs and etc. And I stopped because I've never seen anything like that when it comes to a independent producer putting out their stuff. And I guess, like, you know, it was unique to me, so I started asking the guy a couple prices, and he's like, "Oh, nothing's for sale here. We're just trying to raise money to finish the movie." So I sat with this guy and I talked about all of his projects, you know, and everything that he was pretty much putting out, the promotional materials. You know, he even has action figures made for this movie. So once everything got down to it, I saw the trailer, and we don't have the trailer set up. I wish we did, but go to YouTube right now, search The Barn, and check out the trailer, and then go buy the movie, because it is incredible. It's amazing that it was done independently, completely on his own, and raised. All the funds were raised by the crowd, by fans that wanted to see this movie. So again, check out the trailer on YouTube and pick it up. Thebarnmerch.com. Do you have something that you wanna?
I mean, not really. Just
All right, then I guess I'm gonna get a little long-winded and blow through some of these real quick.
Well, yeah. I mean, the only one I usually ever promote is just my buddy on YouTube, Matt Iokai. He always posts some great videos. One of his latest ones is he did like a mock-up Friday the 13th, the game commercial that's like spliced with a Mentos commercial. It's a really funny short video. So I mean, if you watch my gaming streams and all my descriptions, I promote Mad Eye's channel, so definitely go check him out. Watch some of his videos. He puts out some good Friday the 13th game theory videos and stuff like that. Drop him a comment, tell him Bates sent you. But yeah, no, it's just fun content if you're into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the Friday the 13th content that he puts out is pretty incredible. We're gonna post a link to his Twitter, I think, in the Way of Life Twitter handle, so you could check out his Twitter. You could check out his channel and subscribe. Highly recommend it. So this next one that I wanted to promote really quick was Ibon Press, who has been known for releasing comics based on Lucio Fulci movies, which they have a Gates of Hell comic, I believe. They have a zombie comic. They have, more recently, the Maniac series. If you've never seen Maniac, it is this really, really gritty and horrible, like video nasty type of movie, and it follows a serial killer as he goes around and kills people in Manhattan, and he skins not skins them, but he scalps people, and it's just a really fucked up movie from, I think it was made in the 70s. But in any case, Ivon Press has put out a comic series based off of that, and recently they posted what issue 2 is going to look like, and they're pitting off Frank Zito against the New York Ripper, which, if you're a Fulci fan, your mind is exploding right now the way I did when I read it. They have a cover posted up already for the issue 2, and the first issue is up currently for pre-order at ivonpress.com. It ships next week, from what I read from the creator. So definitely look into that if you're into gore, you're into those 70s exploitation movies and all that.
Yeah, it definitely looks like something extremely unique that horror fans should be eating up.
Yeah, without a doubt. When I seen that picture of Frank Zito and the New York Ripper facing off against each other, my mind just exploded with the possibilities of like two gritty New York slashers facing off in the same territory. Like, do they start like hunting their victims, or do they start hunting each other? I mean, it's a series that I definitely want to check out.
Yeah, and the way I see it going, I think they'll probably start together and then end up facing off. Kind of like, if anyone is familiar with the old, I believe Topps put them out back in the early 90s. They were the Jason vs. Leatherface comics. It was a short series, I think 3 or 4 issues, and it was like Jason joining the Sawyer family for 1 or 2 issues, and then him actually finally facing off against Leatherface in like the last issue. So I could see them going a route like that, which is kind of cool because it tackles both fronts. So,
not to mention, I mean, like it seems like it's a place, or it's created from a place of just like a fan conversation, like something that me and Bates would talk about. Like, like what if they pit this guy off against this guy? Imagine that. And these guys made a reality of it.
Yep.
So on to the next piece of thing that I want to recommend. This might not be for everybody, but if you were a fan of hip hop or rap or horrorcore as it may be, I've got a couple of friends that put out a new EP. It's called Harvest Ritual, and the artist is Empire of Dirt. I did the cover artwork for it, and having been friends and fans of these guys for a long time, if you like horror or hip hop with a horror edge to it, I definitely want you guys to check it out. Again, it's Empire Dirt's Harvest Ritual, and if that's not enough, they have a re-release of a legendary horrorcore group by the name of Six Side, their EP called Lights from the Pumpkin. It's a 2017 re-release with bonus tracks, and you could find all of that for free at officialfifthpower.com. And this last one that I want to shout out is something that I just saw posted today, and I could not do this podcast or stream without mentioning it. It was created by there's a short film that was released today, and it was created by friends of ours, kind of, I guess, by the guys that made behind the Fright Rags t-shirts, rather.
Yeah, it's a short little film. Stars everybody's favorite Shape, and it's kind of a look in the day of the Shape when it's not Halloween. And
like what does Michael Myers do on his day off? Like, once the Halloween season's over, as he's prepping his murderous rage, what does he do once it's all over, when he's finally on vacation? They took this concept and they brought it to life in a 3-minute short film, and it was created by the I'm going to name off the creators here because they deserve all the credit for putting out such a very charming film. Eric Myra, if I'm saying your name wrong, I'm sorry. Chris Hogan Roy, Benjamin Scrivens, who is the CEO of Fright Rags T-shirts.
Benjamin.
Television for some reason. Yeah, Ben's the man. And Chris Tansky. The mask was designed by Justin Mabry, which you might have a few things to say about.
Justin has been making masks for a very, very long time. You would recognize some of his earlier works. I showcased during the Friday the 13th stream. And when I say earlier works, I mean earlier works. It is 2017, and that Part 4 flesh mask I had is probably about anywhere from 12 to 15 years old. So, I mean, this guy is a master mask maker, and if you're buying a mask, you buy it from him. I'll shout him out. You can check out his stuff at Night Owl Productions. I will get the link and throw that in the chat for anyone who's interested. But
sorry to cut you off, but he also is one of the lead mask designers at Trick or Treat Studios. He kind of runs things over there, and his masks are unbelievable. Like, if you watch this film, November 1st, you could tell the quality of mask that this man produces. And I know what's kind of sad about it is the fact that he's made a better Michael Myers mask than any of the Michael Myers masks past Part 2. Like, it's unbelievable that he produced a mask for a short film that looks better than Part 4, Part 5, Part 6, and I could go on up until Rob Zombie's mask, when they kind of brought it back to where it's supposed to be.
Yeah, definitely. The guy knows what he's doing. He knows his way around latex. Let's just put it that way.
But in any case, you need to be watching this short film called November 1st. Again, it shows what Michael Myers does once the Halloween season's over, and there's no better word for it than charming. You have to check it out. I created a link for it so you can check it out really quick. It's tinyurl.com/November 1st film, and the word first is the full word.
Yeah, I tried posting it in the chat, but I guess YouTube chat doesn't like tiny URLs because it keeps removing it.
If you follow our Twitter account, which is @wayoflifenet, I'm going to post a link for you guys to check it out. I mean, if you're a horror fan, you're a Halloween fan, you need to see this thing.
Yep. So, that's about it.
That about does it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think it was a bad first episode.
No, it just went incredibly long.
Deal with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not complaining. I just can't believe that we're nearing the 2-hour mark already.
Yeah, it flew by though.
Yeah. We'll have to make some adjustments for future episodes and try to just cut it down a little bit. I mean, obviously, I don't mind going on and talking for hours at a time here, but for the sake of content that's easily accessible to our subs and stuff, I think we should try to cut it down just a little bit.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, it's all growing pains.
This is a good thing to gauge everything on, and you know what? The people that are watching or listening or anything like that, they don't give a shit about this. We'll figure this out off air. Yeah,
definitely. So anyone who tuned in tonight, want to thank you guys. Again, this was the first episode, and the channel is very, very young. So not many subscribers yet, not many people hanging out in chat. The chat is obviously there for you guys to talk, and we're not really going to respond to much, if any, of the things going on in chat directly. But please don't take that as a deterrent not to talk amongst yourselves. I mean, we'll answer, but just don't expect answers. It's not that type of stream.
But even so, I mean, we're checking the chat constantly all throughout. We're sharing things with you guys. I mean, if we see something worth shifting positions on and talking about, by all means, we're going to be doing it. So yeah, engage with one another, engage with us. It all works out because we're going to be we're going to be forming a community over here that we encourage that sort of behavior.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, thank you guys for whoever came out tonight and hung out. Just keep an eye if you haven't subscribed to any of our Twitters. That's where you're going to get all the most up-to-date updates and information about upcoming content, streams, whatnot, what's going on. There's the Twitter handle for this account, just Way of Life Net. Obviously, my account, Bates_MotelMT, and the sister channel of Live Deliciously in Game. That's the game streaming channel I run.
Definitely check that out. It's a blast when he streams Friday the 13th, or any game for that matter. I'm always in there hanging out in chat, BSing with everybody.
Then you got Ray Mungus over on Twitter, @Ray Mungus.
Follow me or else.
Yeah, you
have to bring out the dogs of war on everybody if you don't follow me.
Yeah, you don't want the dogs of war.
Look at them in the background there, see? They've been patient this whole 2 hours of me standing there.
Yeah, the one dog of war, his name is Richie. You really don't want him knocking on your window, trust me.
You do not want him at your door.
Because once he comes, he may never leave. So just follow him.
And the belly thing's all weird. What's up with that?
Yeah. That'll be for another stream.
Exactly.
That's another stream. We will dedicate a stream just to that particular dog of war.
You're gonna see him in the guest box right there. And I just want to say, if you're somebody that has something to say about horror, or like Adam Green or something, you could be in that box too.
And then our two other partners who are not here tonight, the
Leather Rebel.
Yes, LR, the Leather Rebel, who is at UF Webzine on Twitter. So go ahead, follow him. These are the two, him and Doom Machine 7784. That is Tom. They are basically the metal experts on our channel. Not to say that I am not a giant metalhead, but when it comes to metal, they definitely know more than us.
Easily.
But we trust me, we can hold our own with them. But when it comes to horror, they're kind of iffy on the subject. They enjoy it. Well, Tom really doesn't enjoy it that much. Anthony does, LR does, but he does not know anywhere near as much as we do.
Agreed. Tom surprises me sometimes, but Anthony's getting better, over time.
Yeah, the thing about Anthony, about Leather Rebel, is he's very passionate about it. He's just not as informed about it.
He was a late bloomer too. It took him a while to watch Lost Boys, which the first time rather, that he's on one of these things with us, I'm going to rib him relentlessly about.
Yes, it's one of our favorite pastimes.
Pretty much. It's never going to get old either.
So definitely check everybody out on Twitter, follow us. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, jump on over to my channel, Live Deliciously in Game, if you're into watching game streams and just bullshitting. It's super interactive, and it's usually a lot of fun. I do a lot of giveaways on my channel. There's going to be some giveaways coming up on this channel. Not yet. I got to build it up.
I'm thinking Christmas time. We might have like one of these serial killer Santas drop something off at your door.
Yeah. So if we can build a good subscriber base by the time the holidays come around, I'll set something up. I promise I will not do another Amazon giveaway. I am so sorry for anyone from my stream who's watching that the Amazon giveaway has gone so horribly wrong to the point where we still don't have a winner. Why? I am not 100% sure. I'm probably going to be contacting Amazon tomorrow to see what the fuck is going on with that. But
we're going back to the original format that did work.
Yes, and which was a hell of a lot more fun for me too.
Oh, it was a blast. So expect a special stream next month where we're going to be interacting with you guys, and we're going to have like a slew of holiday horror fun to talk about, and obviously give shit away. You know, that's all I want to do is just give out a bunch of stuff to everybody.
Yep, exactly. Get people excited for, you know, the channel, get people excited for the content, and get people excited for basically horror.
Agreed.
I mean, you know, we were talking about the new Scream Factory release of, you know, Leslie Vernon. I mean, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, I mean, just getting the word out to people, you know, about things that they might not have heard about. I mean, that's all it takes is one little seed growing into something big. And if we have a little bit of that to contribute, why not? You know, it's worth the 2 hours of hanging out with you guys.
Yep. So, basically, yeah, so just keep an eye on everything, and we will keep everybody updated as to when you guys you can expect the next content on this channel.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks everybody for tuning in once more and hanging out with us and getting to know us a little bit and listening to our almost ADD type of rants where we talk about South Park and Saw in the same sentence. So I'm glad you guys, you know, gave us a shot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, we kind of bounced around, but it's all good. So we took a couple detours, but we ended. We still got to the destination.
We got here, exactly.
All right, so thank you everybody again, and we will see you next time. So
remember,
yeah. Also, you know, just again, thank you everybody, and just remember.
What do you think this is all about? You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life. This is a way of life.